So hello everyone, when we are students or on visa working 9 to 5, we always have a thought that we want to do something on our own. We want to make a startup or a business, but we always think, is it possible on a visa in the US? How you can get started if you are on a visa? What are the steps you want to take? We will be talking about that in this video. A good example could be Harshita. She at the age of 16 came to the US without her high school being completed. She was homeschooled and still she could establish her business in the US. So if she could, then you can as well. And now let's welcome Soundarya, who will be sharing how you can actually create a business on a visa in the US. In the last podcast, we talked about one visa, which can unshackle students. But what about business? Because business could be a first step in establishing and moving towards your entrepreneurship dream once you unshackled yourself.
Thanks so much for having me back. As a quick intro, my name is Soundarya, nickname is Pooja. I came to the US 2017 for my master's on an F1 visa, like most students do. And then I was at Salesforce as a PM for 2.5 years. And then I quit that. And right now I'm actually exploring how to set up a business myself, which is why I'm really excited to talk to you about this topic and help other people who are also aspiring solopreneurs and entrepreneurs set up their business.
Irrespective of the visa, and in US, it's very funny that legally you can actually own a business, as many businesses you want to. But if you want to work on a business, let's say that if I want to create a company, Harnoor Singh LLC, and if she wants to create a company, Soundarya LLC, she can create as many businesses like these, but it's very tricky when you want to work on it. Would you like to elaborate that?
Yes. And the even more funny part about this is you can start a business even if you're not in the US. So Harshita, for example, she started her company from India and it took her 10 minutes to start a company. That's all it takes. So if you go to tools like Stripe.com, Stripe Atlas, or Capbase or LegalZoom.
InFile
is that another one. So all of these tools allow you to set up a business, and all you really need is you have to know, are you going to do a C Corp or LLC? What type? And then it's going to ask you for a few $100s of setting up fee and your details. And that's really it. You don't need to be a US citizen or even a US resident or even have a US visa. That I think even I was surprised by when I heard about it first time.
Yeah, it is so easy and it's almost like guaranteed. You just have to pay a few $100s to make it premium. You can create it within 3 days as well.
Exactly. And in 3 days, I think they give you the employer identification number, EIN, which is like the SSN equivalent of a company. And once you get that, you can open a bank account and just start business in the US from India or anywhere across the world, really.
Really, really smooth process. But now if we talk about a student on a student visa or a 9-to-5 job person on a H-1B visa, how can they get started and actually work on their startup rather than just creating it, which anyone can do?
Yeah, that is when you go into this territory of needing to be within the constraints of the immigration rules, because you want to be, in legal status here. But immigration gives you some leeway if you're willing to be a bit creative. So let's say F1. F1 visa, you come here, you start your master's, and you can start doing things like market research for a product you want to build. I've met this guy recently who was building a fintech product on an F1 visa. Right now, all he's doing is just researching. And anyone can do research, like reading papers, talking to people, talking to investors, like who might be potentially investing in your idea. You can do all of that on an F1 visa. What you can't be doing is earning money from your business or setting up a business that's actually running and managing people. That gets into the territory of managerial / executive role, and that you cannot do on an F1 visa.
Basically, you cannot work on it, like same thing.
Like you can do a ton of research for your business, build business plans, and do customer discovery, but you cannot be managing employees, like hiring people, telling them what to do, sending emails. That cannot be done.
So if you cannot be a manager for your company, can you be a coder, a programmer?
Coder for your company. So it depends on, are you building an app?
Yes.
And
like Harshita.
Like Harshita, right. And is that app going to be making money?
Yes.
That gets in it, because then you're earning money without a work authorization for the work that you're doing. That is not permissible.
But then how Harshita could do it?
Oh, Harshita got an O1 visa. So see, what she did was she set up a company in the US called Harshita Arora Agarwal LLC Apps, something like that. And she applied for an O1 through that company. So her job was she wanted to build apps, and she made that her job. And so her job itself had the bullet points that Harshita can work on her apps, can build her own company. So that's different, right? So let's say you're on an F1, you move to a OPT. OPT is when you get 12 months to work on something related to your degree. At that point, you can set up an LLC.
Yes.
Or C Corp, and then let's say you call that Harnoor Singh's LLC, and that LLC is all about building web and mobile apps. And if you can file for a EAD through that LLC, then you can do whatever you want, like build that company up.
But the tricky thing is you can do that for only 1 year. And
Yes.
after that, if you want to work on it on a STEM OPT, so STEM OPT is basically 2 years extension to your work authorization in the US. If you are doing some STEM degree like engineering, etc. So in those 2 years, you cannot work on that company you created. You can just own it. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, I know. Yes, once again, it's like it sometimes feels like one step forward, two steps backward with immigration. But what you could do at that point is if you can transfer to an H1B and file for an H1B through your own company, so you're not even on the STEM OPT, which I know it's not possible for everyone. Like some people want to be on the STEM OPT. So that is a bit tricky, but one option out of that mess is there is something called the Global Entrepreneurship in Residence Program, GEIR. And this is there in 3 universities in the US right now. So what happens is, let's say you just graduated from Georgia State, and now you want to work on Harnoor Singh LLC. You can apply for the GEIR program and say that, hey, I have this idea. This is my plan for the next 1 year, 2 years, and this is the roadmap. If you get selected inside the program, they will pair you with one of these 3 universities where you will spend 5 to 8 hours a week giving back to the community. Like you might be teaching students how to think about entrepreneurship, or office hours to help students get a foot into the door of being an immigrant entrepreneur. And that essentially gives you an H1B that using which you can stay in this country. And you can spend all the other 30, 40 hours of your week working on your company and building it up, ground up, getting investment, getting a team together, and all of that. And eventually, when you feel like your company has enough money on its own, you can file for an H1B through your own company, after which you don't need this H1B anymore.
Brilliant. So you can actually create a visa for your own company and then work through that visa on your company. That's the route.
Yeah, eventually I feel like people are going to go either the H1 or the O1 route through their own company. And that's a whole different topic. But I guess my bigger point is it's possible. And if anybody watching this video has a great idea they want to work on, they shouldn't feel like, oh, I have to wait until I get my green card to work on this. Yeah. They should feel free to start now.
Yeah. So a wonderful opportunity will be, let's say that if I'm even a first year student in college, I can create the company. I can actually work on it, but not make money. Yes. So because if it's a voluntary job, let's say that if I want to work on an app, I create an app, I don't make money on it. But as soon as I finish my degree, it's OPT. I can start minting money, making money through that, that app. If possible, if it's successful, obviously. It is not that easy as it things like, oh, let's just mint money. It's not that.
Yeah, I would just say that definitely consult an immigration lawyer. Like, people think so much to spend $100 talking to a lawyer. And it's I made the mistake as well for a long time. I didn't talk to a lawyer about certain things. But eventually I realized that, you know what, I need to talk to someone who knows what can be done. And that $100 can save you thousands down the line if you make a wrong mistake and you go into the territory of, like, you cannot be doing this, but you're doing this. So.
And in fact, some universities have international students and scholar services. They are connected with lawyers, which gives student discounts, in fact. So, if you use that opportunity, that is a wonderful way to actually find the legality of anything you are trying to do.
Exactly. And I also feel like if someone's working at a company on an H1B and watching this, the company has lawyers. So they can also talk to them. And I actually spoke to the lawyer at Salesforce to get many of my questions answered. And these companies, especially if they're big companies, have the best lawyers under their wing. So use that.
So if we have to summarize the process of how students can create a company, remember all the words we're using are very tricky in terms of legal point of view. You can create a company from first year or first day in the US or even before. Number two, you can do research for that company. You can figure out the dynamics. You can research how will be making money. You can talk to people. You can
Talk to investors.
Yeah, but anything other than that, you have to consult a lawyer to even like thinking about working on it. And do talk to a lawyer. And after that, once you're an OPT, after you have completed your degree, you can work, make money out of it. And then another step could be to finally, through that company, if it is successful, complete the steps for an O1 visa, which you have a book for.
Exactly. Yeah. H1B, O1, anything works really. And in Unshackled, the book that me and Samir are working on specifically, we're exploring literally all the pathways that someone who wants to become an immigrant entrepreneur or solopreneur can take to get to their goal. And we're also building a community online where these immigrant founders can meet each other and help each other, which I think is really lacking because I don't know currently of a community that I can join and meet somebody else who's a solopreneur, an immigrant solopreneur, who I can talk to about this topic.
A community actually also helps you like connecting like-minded people who actually can help you finding more people for your company as well.
Yeah, and one thing that I really want to do in the community is connect immigrants with lawyers, the best fit lawyers for their case. So that way you actually don't have to leave the community to talk to a lawyer. Inside the community, you would be matched with somebody, talk to them and help them file your O1 case, H1B, whatever it is.
Brilliant. So thank you so much, Soundarya, once again for sharing your knowledge about an important topic for students who they are very scared of. And I hope after this video, they can actually take the risk of actually talking to lawyers because it can actually map their career the right way and the legal way.
Exactly. Thank you so much for having me and thank you all for watching.